It was one of those stories that began with ordinary love and ended in a way no one imagined. Michael and Angela met in college. He was reserved, the kind of man who loved books, numbers, and plans. She was vivacious, full of energy, the center of every gathering. Against the expectations of their friends, they became inseparable. Within 3 years, they married. A year later, their first child, Daniel, was born. Michael wept in the delivery room, holding the tiny boy to his chest, overwhelmed by the thought of being a father. For the next decade, Michael devoted himself to his family. He worked long hours at a financial consulting firm, rising in rank, while Angela stayed home with their children by then, 3, Daniel, Sophie, and little James. Their home was a picture of suburban stability. To neighbors and church friends, they looked like a couple who had built everything right. But cracks appeared quietly. Angela grew restless, often complaining about Michael's long hours. Michael assumed it was the fatigue of raising children. He made extra effort, planned vacations, bought her gifts, even surprised her with a new car. Still, something seemed off. It wasn't until Daniel turned 12 that the unthinkable happened. Daniel had developed a serious medical condition that required a genetic test to identify treatment options. Michael and Angela both provided samples, expecting a straightforward process. A week later, the doctor asked Michael to come in privately. The test results showed something strange. Daniel's DNA did not match Michael's. At first, Michael thought it was a lab error. He requested a repeat test. Again, the same result. Daniel was not biologically his son. Shaken, Michael ordered tests for Sophie and James without telling Angela. When the results returned, the truth struck like lightning. None of the children were his. Michael confronted Angela one evening after the kids were asleep. He sat at the kitchen table, the papers spread before him, his hands trembling. "Angela," he said, his voice breaking, "I need you to tell me the truth. These children, they're not mine." Her face went pale, then hardened. After a long silence, she confessed. During their marriage, she had been unfaithful multiple times with a close friend from their social circle. The children were biologically fathered by him. Angela admitted she never intended for Michael to find out. She believed that because Michael loved the children so deeply, biology wouldn't matter. But it mattered. The revelation shattered Michael's sense of identity and the very foundation of his life. He thought back to every sleepless night rocking Daniel to sleep, every scraped knee he had bandaged, every birthday he had paid for, every dream he had for their future, and realized none of it was rooted in the truth. The children he thought carried his blood were in fact another man's. The fallout was devastating. Divorce papers followed. The community was torn, with whispers in every corner. Friends who once admired Angela's charm turned distant. Michael's world became quiet, lonely, but he remained connected to the children despite the betrayal. "They may not be mine by blood," he told a close friend, "but I raised them. They are still my children." Years later, Michael would describe the experience as both the greatest pain and the deepest lesson of his life. Paternity fraud, as cold as the term sounds, wasn't just about science or betrayal. It was about trust destroyed, a life rewritten, and the haunting question of how many families live with secrets buried just beneath the surface.